What is up, my friends, and how's it going? And welcome to the first episode of our new Let's Play series with your fellow comrade, Summary. Most of you know in the past month, especially those who are subscribed to my YouTube channel, you will know that I have been conducting a lot of community polls to determine the direction this channel will take. And one of the polls basically determined that I will continue playing Divide et Impera Rome 2 instead of other Total War titles. And the faction that actually won the election for this Let's Play series is none other than my favorite, Roma. And speaking of Roma, Roma is a major faction and as such is a faction group of its own. And that means they don't really have sub-factions like the Diadochi or the Galli or the Britanni or the Iberi, but instead they have different families that run the Roman faction. However, as a faction group, they do have two traits. Both of them are positive. The first one, Roman legions give +1 recruitment slot in all your provinces. This is quite powerful in my opinion, as you can pump out a lot more armies a lot more quickly. And the second one is bread and circuses, which gives +1 food in all provinces. This is also quite good, and I'm not entirely sure if it applies to provinces that are completely under your control or even partially under your control. And if it is the latter, it's going to be even more powerful. However, it's nothing to scoff at, even if it is the former situation, as especially in the early game, food can be hard to come by. And next up, we're going to look at the Roman families, and you have three major families: the gens Julia, the gens Junia, as well as the gens Cornelia. And each of them have their own traits, with the gens Julia having the barbarian subduers, which gives increased melee attack during battles against barbarian tribes, Romanizations, which gives increased cultural conversion. Their debuff is cultural oppressors, which gives increased public order penalties due to presence of foreign cultures. However, their debuff is pretty much counteracted by their buff, Romanization, which helps you quickly convert the province's culture to Latin, and therefore you don't have to deal with this debuff for very long. So as such, the Julia faction or the family is quite powerful. Next up we have the Junia family. And with the Junia family, you have agrarian wisdom, which gives increased agricultural income. That is quite powerful, considering Roma can be specced into an agricultural economy, as well as Egyptos. And next up, we have the Founding Fathers, which gives public order bonus from Latin culture, which is also quite decent, considering that we are Latin culture, and most of our provinces, especially in the end game, will be Latinized. Finally, for the debuff, we have Political Elitists, which gives a moderate diplomatic penalty with all factions. Now, this is pretty hefty, especially considering another one of the polls that actually won the elections is for me to play the campaign on hard difficulty with the battles on normal difficulty, which means diplomacy will be a lot harder. Couple that with this debuff over here, and that could be quite significant. And before we go into the gens Cornelia, I forgot to mention some of the notable historical characters of the Julia family would of course be the famous Gaius Julius Caesar, who was one of the dictators of Rome, who got assassinated in the Senate, and his nephew Gaius Octavian Caesar basically became Augustus Caesar, or the first Roman emperor. And when we talk about the House Junia, they are famous. They are the Junii Brutii, and they are famous for being staunchly republic by nature. In fact, one of the senators that did assassinate Gaius Julius Caesar was a Brutii. And now that we have discussed the two notable characters of these two families, let's move on to the gens Cornelia. Now, the gens Cornelia have administrators, which gives increased tax rate. This, in my opinion, is quite powerful, so that's quite good. They do have the Philhellenes, which gives moderate diplomatic bonus with all Hellenic factions. This is also quite good, and you know, considering the entire Eastern Hemisphere at this point of time in history is controlled by Hellenic factions. Lastly, they have disdain for the plebs, which gives a public order penalty from the presence of Latin culture. This is a significant debuff, but not so significant, because pretty much in the late game you should have no issues converting a lot of provinces to Latin culture. However, in the early game, this can really make province management a pain. I think with the gens, Julia, I didn't really discuss, or I did discuss, yeah, increased melee attack during battles against barbarian tribes. It's pretty decent, nothing great, and yeah, without any further ado, let us talk about Roma as a faction and a government. Roma is a republic, which means we will have even less party loyalty, coupled with the fact that we are playing on hard. And I really hate you guys for voting hard. Normal is really enjoyable, but I do want to show that it can be done even on hard. You can play the political game, but it's going to be a bit tedious, especially considering Rome's political traditions is Republican. And next up, we have special systems in which the Romans have special reforms. They have the Polybian, Marian, as well as Imperial reforms. And if I remember correctly, they're the only faction with 3 reforms, which is quite good. And apart from that, they also have the auxiliary recruitment. For those of you who have seen my faction tier list, you may or may not agree with my ranking on that list. However, it is a subjective list, and in my subjective opinion, this right here, the auxiliary recruitment, is what makes Roma so incredibly powerful and so easily expansionist by nature, and you will see that a lot in this campaign, especially once we hit the Marian reforms. However, before we hop into the campaign, I am going to discuss a little bit of the criticism I have received since Roma has won the election. Several prominent friends of mine have pointed out that playing Let's Play as Roma is really not that unique, and that is because there are tons of Let's Play series as Roma, Divide et Impera, Rome 2 Total War. Obviously that is going to be the case because the game is Rome 2 Total War. However, to keep things a bit fresh, I am playing with few modifications, and I will explain that before we hop into the campaign. So let's just look at the Roman roster, and one of the things that I have done, and it is available in the Steam workshop right now, is I have added the historical legions formerly created by the Steam user Noniac, and with the help of Marcus Aurelius, I did manage to create absolutely historical Roman legions. So we do have different Roman legions. I'm not going to go into depth over here. For those of you who are interested to get an in-depth analysis of what exactly this mod does, you can check out Immersoholic's video on this mod. A link is in the description. And he does a pretty good job explaining everything that this mod does. Apart from that, this is not exactly the Steam version because I am playing with the patch 1.3.2, which is currently under development and not public. And as you can see, we do have the Mithridatic Wars over here, where you can play either as Sulla or Marius, as well as you can play as Mithridates himself. However, back to the custom menu. Some of the other things that I have done is that I have opted to go for a historical Roman legion setup, which means I have decided to go with 41 unit armies rather than 20 unit armies, so that I can create a more historical legionary formation. And that being said, this mod does add 39 legionaries in total, especially if you consider the Marian reforms. And as such, I have also amended this mod to allow me to have 50 armies at Imperium level 8. So that is insane, considering that army upkeep is going to be incredibly tough, considering that in the base game you have a army cap of 18 armies, of which all of them are 20 stacks, so that's approximately 360 units. But when we talk about 50 armies, or 39 armies rather, with an army cap of 41 units, you're talking about 1,600. That is 4 times as many units approximately, if not more. So definitely army upkeep is going to be a major problem, which is why I have also included in my mod an army upkeep modifier. I haven't reduced the army upkeep by a factor of 4, which would be reasonable, but I have reduced it by a factor of 2, so army upkeep is only going to be 50%. And the reason being is going to be virtually impossible to maintain so many armies without the army upkeep modifiers. However, this is not really going to be cheesing the AI, because this modifier also applies to the AI factions, so the AIs can also maintain a lot of armies. Keep in mind, I haven't changed the unit recruitment cost both for the player and the AI, and as such, it won't be easy to recruit armies, but to maintain armies will be a lot easier. And I have tested this out, and it does allow the AI to field many armies, which means this campaign is going to be a slogfest. It's going to be grinding battle after battle, massive battle after massive battle. And hopefully you guys get to enjoy that and get to see a lot of the Roman army in action. However, apart from that, we also have modified the supply limit of each region, because keep in mind we are marching with 41 stack armies, and as such you are going to consume the supplies of the region a lot quickly. So definitely I have also modded that in. Apart from that, I have also modded auxiliary units. They previously had a cap that was balanced around 18 armies with 20 units each. Now there is no cap, so I can pretty much have unlimited auxiliary units that use Pop 4. Of course, I will not abuse this and run with foreign armies. I will only use this to properly set up my armies in a historical composition for 41 stacks. And lastly, one of the things that I have done is that I have amended the Socii class to also use the foreign population, which is the Peregrini. And as such, the Hastati Samnicti, the Principes Samnicti, and as well as the Equites Extraordinary, where is it? Over here. All come from the 4th population class, and of course they are also spammable, but I will not be doing that. I will be using them, and I will be using them in a historical composition, and of course keeping in mind the ratios of allied versus citizen units. And the reason I've done this is because pretty much the Hastati Samnicti have no other purpose, because their citizen variant is better than them in stat wise. And in fact, if you're talking about citizens, the Hastatis come from plebes, which is the 2nd Roman class. The Principes come from the same class, and they are significantly better than the Hastati. So I do see a lot of players going purely with Hastati and completely ignoring ignoring the Hastati and going purely with the Principes. And that is obviously the most logical thing to do, but I will not be doing that. Keep in mind, I am playing as historically possible as I possibly can, right? And finally, the last thing that I am going to use in this Let's Play series is the realistic expansion submod created by Raitor, so full credit goes to him. And of course, this submod is, in my recommendation, a must when you are playing as Rome. It just makes Roman expansion a lot more immersive, and you don't end up with ridiculous things like the Iceni owning all of northwestern Europe, the Boii owning all of Germania, Athens pretty much owning the entire things all the way up to Dacia. You pretty much have very historical outcomes. You will have a stronger Pontic faction, thereby leading to a Mithridatic type wars towards the mid game, and of course you will have Parthia as an end game rival. However, that being said and done, I'm just trying to recollect if I have any other mods that I am using. And yes, of course, these Roman legionaries do use certain model mods, especially the Roman Extravaganza submod 1.0.9 that is created by Celticus as well as Benjen, so full credit and thanks goes to them. And yeah, apart from that, I think if I have left out any other details, I will make sure to comment on them during the campaign. So without any further ado, let us hop right into the campaign, and before we do that, I have a little surprise for you guys. My grandfather once told me of a time our beloved city was brought to its knees by a war band of savage barbarians. You wouldn't believe me if I told you that the mighty Roma was humiliated by a single Gallic chieftain. Yet even in defeat, Romans always learn. Vae victis, woe to the vanquished. Ever since that dreadful day, our republic took a turn in a positive direction. We reformed our armies, fought our enemies, conquered endlessly, and most importantly, never surrendered even in the face of defeat. And so over a century has passed, and we are now the dominant power in Italia. But even so, Italia remains in turmoil. In the north, the remnants of the once mighty Etruscan cities have band together and risen against us. They have only been emboldened by our recent defeats at the hands of an even greater threat. For the real danger lies in the south. It is here in Magna Graecia that a Greek city called Taras defies our claim of sole ownership of Italia. Afraid of our strength, they have turned to the kingdom of Epirus, whose ruler Pyrrhic, eager to earn glory in a war that doesn't concern him, has crossed the Adriatic Sea. Having lost 2 major battles against him at Heraclea and Asculum, the Roman Senate in its desperation has assigned me, Lucius Julius Libo, commander of the Roman armies. It seems for now the path to Taras lies in a decisive victory over Pyrrhic. Meanwhile, to the south, the Carthaginians nervously watch our every move. While they might support us in our war against Pyrrhic, they judge our intentions. Those hypocrites. They are expansionist by nature and can never be trusted. In the end, Roma must prevail. Long live the Republic. Roma Invicta. Alright, welcome to the campaign. Hope you guys enjoyed that little surprise, and those kind of introduction videos will be quite common going forward, and I will use them to basically highlight what exactly happened in the previous episode. So if you have any feedback based on that, this is something new I've absolutely tried, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any feedback, please feel free to comment down below in the comment section. However, yes, let's just hop right into it. You know the situation. We are at war on 2 fronts with the Etruscans in the north, and Pyrrhic of Epirus has landed in Taras and will be looking to attack Beneventum or Crescentia as quickly as possible. However, before we do anything, the first thing I'd like to do is, of course, have a look at my politics. So, of course, we are the gens Julia. We have Lucius Julius Libo, our faction leader, or rather the primus inter pares of our family tree. He is married to Lucretia. Lucretia is quite good. She's got a zeal of 5, and that's exactly what I need. However, let's look at our other political parties, and as you can see, we have the gens Cornelia. I forgot to mention the famous Cornelians are the Scipio or the Scipii, as well as Sulla or the Sulani, such as Sulla, the dictator of Rome, who once upon a time did try to get Caesar killed. So yeah, looking at that, their faction or family leader is Gaius Cornelius Scipio, and he's got public order, which is quite good. The heir to the faction has minus 60 public order penalties due to presence of foreign cultures and minus 3 empire maintenance. Both are really good. And especially even the first one might not seem like a big deal, but if you remember, as the Julii family, we do have cultural oppressors, which gives increased public order penalties due to presence of foreign cultures. So this guy kind of counteracts that. It might be quite good to put in a recently conquered province as well. Next up, we have the gens Junia, the famous Junii family. Of course, we have Marcus Junius Brutus, and he has pretty much the same +6 public order, so he's also quite good as a governor general. Next up, we have Decimus Junius Brutius. He is in charge of Legio I Italica, which I am going to promptly rename to Legio II Fretensis, which basically means Army of the Straits, since they are protecting the Straits over here. And our primus inter pares in Beneventum will get Legio I Italica. Alright, next up we have the gens Papira. These guys are not really a family that I am aware of or know of. And yeah, pretty much we just have one guy here, Lucius Papyrus Cursor. And he is industrial, so he's quite good. He would be good in Asia Minor, to be frank. And let's hop on to the politics. Go ahead, hide this advisor. And over here you can see the other parties. Gens Cornelia pretty much has all positive traits. The faction or the family leader has a positive trait, as well as the heir. So everything's looking good with gens Cornelia. And despite all of this, they are already at -5 loyalty, thanks to the difficulty level, as well as the government type. And actually, this can get a lot worse, because the Imperium level is actually giving us +15 loyalty. We are at Imperium level 2, but the minute we hit Imperium level 3, they are gonna get a -10 loyalty in addition to what they already have. So that will take them down to -15. So definitely we will be seeing quite a few civil wars if I don't play my cards right during this campaign, which isn't a big deal because Roma technically did have a bunch of civil wars. Next up, of course, the Gens Junior. They have Agriculturalists and Bigot. However, Bigot is not that bad considering we do have Romanization, which helps with the cultural conversion. So this is not going to be a bad trait as a party trait. And it is only at -1 per province. So it's not that big a deal. If you have 10 provinces, then that's -10. Typically, you'll never have that. And of course, the leader has a bad trait, which is pacifist, which is giving -5 loyalty per faction we are at war with, which would be -10 because we are at war with Etruscans as well as the Epirates. And as you can see, we are getting -10 from pacifists. So the successor does have a good trait, mercantile. And lastly, we have the Gens Papira. They do have a positive as well as a negative trait. The populist is what we're going to be looking at. It gives a -10 loyalty for every level of taxes above average. And it's not that big a deal because most of you will know that I am an economic wizard, if I should say so myself. However, we are playing with 1,600 units. And even with the upkeep reduced by a factor of 2, we are playing with the units increased by a factor of 4, so we might need to bump up our taxation, and that might affect their loyalty with us, but we will have to see how that plays out. I haven't played, of course, that late into the campaign to see how the balance of economy plus army upkeep, basically interacts with each other. However, I have played up till the Polybian reforms as a test, and everything seems to be fine up to that point. And of course, he does have a positive leader trait, which is quite good. And yep, with that being said and done, let's hop into our technology. And with technology, I always like to prioritize army upkeep and then of course growth rate. But as far as civilry is concerned, I might have to go into philosophy and go ahead and get some legal documentation as well as legal institutions to get some increased loyalty for our political parties, since we are playing on hard difficulty. And before we do anything, speaking of hard difficulty, let us make sure to change the battle difficulty down to normal. Now, I have used Save Parser to allow our armies to be 41 stacks, and for those of you who do not know how to do this, I do recommend looking at a video that I will link in the description. It is by a total hardcore player. He's a good friend of mine and a very good YouTuber who covers a lot of Divide et Impera Let's Play series and does a lot of funky and crazy stuff. So I do recommend, checking out his channel, but more importantly, check out his video on how he achieves this 41 stack per army. Right. Now that that is said and done, let us quickly deal with the situation at hand. As you know, we are at war with the Etruscans to the north, and to the south, we do have the Epirates. And now most players, what I tend to see them do is that they actually take Legio 1 over here, march all the way up towards Arretium and try to wipe out the Etruscans, secure their northern border, and then kind of focus down south against Pyrrhic. And what actually happens in that case is that you have only one army that's isolated over here, Legio 2 Fretensis in our case, and they have to pretty much mirror Pyrrhic's armies, and that's going to be quite difficult because Pyrrhic has access to pikemen as well as elephant units that are going to be vastly superior to our at the moment inferior army. And I wouldn't really recommend dealing with the Etruscans, and the Etruscans are quite weak at the start of the game. And I wouldn't be judgmental of the players who do this, because keep in mind, I have played with Rome maybe 100 times. So I have, by trial and error, understood what is the most optimum way to begin the Roman start game, I guess, or the beginning of the Roman campaign. And the way you go about it is you have two options. Of course, you can, open your negotiations with the Etruscans and piece them out, get some money for it. And that's pretty cheesy. I mean, I wouldn't do it because I can definitely do something that's a lot more cheesy. I mean, I wouldn't want to start off the campaign doing something a lot more cheesy. But I do want to show this option for players who definitely want to be using this. And this, in my opinion, is the best thing you can possibly do with Etruria, and that is to piece them out, definitely, and it is on high. And notice that actually before we piece them out that they share the same blood, so we can actually confederate with them if we are playing with the Dresden Sack Liberate submod that gives all diplomatic. But as you can see, their likelihood of success is low, and that is because they are only at war with us. So instead, what we are going to do is we are going to open our diplomacy with other factions such as the Veneti, and their trade agreement is on high. And what most players do is that they actually demand payment from the Veneti. What I recommend is to actually ask them to join the war. And if they are still on a high, then you can ask for some payment against the trade agreement. And as you can see, they are going to pay us the same amount, and they have also joined the war, which means the Etruscans are going to be even more likely to accept our confederation offer. So as you can see over here, we go into confederation, they are still on low, but what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this with all the other factions that are in the vicinity. Meanwhile over here, in Auxilia, they are on high with a non-aggression. They are low, they will not join the war against the Etruscans. However, let's see if we can do something with the Carthaginians. I mean, if the Carthaginians join the war, we can go for a military access perhaps. Yep. And join the war against the Etruscans. They are on moderate. I'm going to check if they will do it. No, they will not. What if I actually pay them a little bit? Maybe I can ask them to join the war against the Etruscans. They are on moderate still. Okay. Give them a little bit of money. And they have accepted. Wonderful, right? And that is definitely going to make them want to... They rejected our military access. Okay, I don't need to be giving them military access. That's definitely going to make the Etruscans a lot more likely to confederate with us, so that's great. However, before you confederate, you don't want to do that and basically, you know, take over, because you will take over their army, and I don't like doing that. That can sometimes lead to an extra political party, and I don't like to do that. So the way I do that is actually fill out my army caps. So the next thing I'd want to do is I would definitely want to recruit some governor generals, and we will start with Gnaeus Cornelius Scipio. Put him up in Roma and rename him to Legatus, which is basically a provincial governor title. Legatus of Latium, because he is the provincial governor of the entire province of Latium. And of course, every legatus has under him a bunch of lictors. And lictors are basically assistants of the legatus, and we are going to put Junius Brutus as a lictor of Arretium. Lictoris, the adjective of Arretium. Okay, there we go. Wonderful. And now that we are at our army cap, we are going to go ahead and try to confederate the Etruscans. They are on moderate. They will not accept. However, let's see if we do pay them a little bit. We offer them 900. They have joined us. Just like that, we have dealt with the Etruscans. Easy peasy, and we still have our starting income. But what we are going to do next is we are going to start initiating some trade agreements. It's on high. Get a couple of payments. Definitely want to do this. Still on high. Moderate. Wonderful. Move up to the Daorsi. Trade agreements on high. Still on high. High. Moderate. We're going to bump it up just a bit more. They accept. Wonderful. The RDAI. Trade agreements. Payments. Get them up a bit. 900. Wonderful. And we also have the Syracuseans. Just a trade agreement. No payment. They will not pay us from my experience, and that is because they are actually friendly with the Epirates, so they will not trade with us that easily. Now the next thing we want to do is we definitely want to deal with the with Pyrrhus down here in the south, and he is over here. So the way to do that is actually to get Pyrrhus in a bad position, and the way you would actually do that is to force him to march in one direction or the other. And most likely Pyrrhus would like to attack Beneventum, and He will not do that because currently we have Legio 1 Italica under our faction leader protecting or garrisoning Beneventum. So we are going to entice him to attack Beneventum. And we are going to move our faction leader towards Roma. And go ahead and recruit some troops. Maybe a couple of Principes first because they are better. And get a couple of levies to deal with the elephant units that he has. And apart from that, we are going to hire some equites because we desperately need those cavalry units. And yep, I think that's perfect. I don't think I can hire a lot more because we do have a limit. Wonderful. Now that that's done, we are going to also recruit some troops for Legio 2 Fretensis. We're going to go with as similar as possible a composition. And just to make sure, I want the total of 4 Principes in the army. We have 3 over here, so I can get another Principe over here. And we can get an Equites Samnicti. So let's go ahead, get that guy. And couple of levies units should be good, I think. Or perhaps another one of these Equites. Perfect. I think that's not a levies, that is a Roarii. I don't want to be making that mistake. So I got a couple of levy troops over here. Wonderful. And now we are left with about 13,000, which I could save up. But I am going to go ahead and develop the province of Latium. First thing you want to do is dismantle the Field of Mars because Roma itself can be used. And I definitely want to use Roma as a barracks. It is a special ancient capital, so it does have the Campus Martius, which is a barracks. Ignore all of these. These will only be available once the reform hits. And so what we're going to do is we are going to upgrade our harbors first. And this is something I learned recently, so pay close attention. And the reason you want to be doing this is because that is the biggest increment. As you can see, a port just gives 45 wealth from maritime commerce. A harbor gives 90 plus 180, which is an addition of 225. Versus, let's say if I upgrade this to a herding ground, it goes up from 80 to 250, so that's an increment of 150, so it's not that much. So I definitely want to be building a couple of ports, and with the money I have remaining, I can upgrade the settlement of Latium, of course, or Roma rather, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I am going to just expand my settlements and opt for a salt mine. Now a salt mine gives 180 wealth, which is slightly better than what the herding ground can give. Since I already have or am in the process of building the herding ground or have enough money to build a herding ground, I can go ahead and do that, but I am going to prioritize on the Shrine of Mercury instead. And this is what makes the Roman faction super powerful, is this Shrine of Mercury. And as you can see, the Basilica or the Shrine of Mercury at its maximum level gives plus 20 wealth from all sources. So if I build 4 of these in a province, I will stack them up and it will be plus 80 wealth. So that, or 80% wealth from all sources. So that is pretty powerful. So we are going to upgrade this to a Shrine of Mercury. So we do have, yeah, we have done everything we can do for this turn. And perhaps we can also get a couple of admirals to basically be lictors to Asculum. Let's go lictoris Asculum. And of course we can get another one if we can afford to do so. Raise a fleet. Cheapest fleet, of course. Put him in Ariminum, and in the next turn I will be able to move Lictoris Arretium to Arretium. We are going to name this one Lictoris Ariminum. And this is not a must, but I like doing it because I am pretty OCD and organized that way. And one last thing we can do is we can issue an edict over here. Initially, we don't have a lot of slaves. And of course, our public order is going to be an issue. So initially, I do recommend selecting the tax harvesting, as that is the massive increment that we can get. However, later on I do like to switch that over to a commercial stimulation edict, especially after I have built my slave trader. However, without any further ado, let us go ahead and end the turn, and I will see you all in the next turn. Alright, welcome to the next turn, and as predicted, you can see Pyrrhus of Epirus, the Basileus of the Kingdom of Epirus, Epirus has moved towards Beneventum, and as such, he is now in a vulnerable position. We could tend to attack him, but we are 10 men strong, and he is 11, and so I will definitely not attack him. But what I will do is I will move my army towards this opening over here in this valley, close enough so that it can reinforce Beneventum. Now I'm going to go ahead and start to recruit a bit more units. And what I will want to recruit for now is perhaps, I think I have two levies over here, a single levies over here. Could focus on some Hastati, or I could focus on some Triaries. I think Hastati will be the play. So we are going to recruit up 3 Hastati units. And what we are going to do is definitely Pyrrhus will no longer attack Beneventum because we are reinforcing it. But we are going to do another cheeky maneuver to force Pyrrhus into another direction. And basically we are making Pyrrhus very indecisive over here. He's not able to do anything. He has marched all the way up to Beneventum. Couldn't quite reach it due to it being winter and the movement range being reduced. But now his movement range is approximately here, so he can potentially reach Cosentia, but he won't do it. The only way he will do it is if I actually move Legio II Fretensis within range, and in the end turn, he will actually be enticed to attack Legio II over here. But of course, Legio II is a 9 unit strong army, will not be able to fight or face off against Pyrrhus. What I will do is I will simply retreat and keep Pyrrhus isolated in Cosentia. However, that being said and done, let's focus on buildings. We can go ahead and build the wine resource building over here. We don't have much money left, so we can expand over here, but we don't have any money to do anything with that expansion. Let us not forget, we do want to move our Governor General over to Arretium. He can't reach in this turn, but he will be able to reach in the next turn. There's pretty much nothing else to do for this turn, and our political parties look to be quite loyal. Not that it matters. The reason being is we are protected for the first 20 turns of a campaign. And as far as our influence is concerned, we are pretty good. I think respected in the Senate is where we want to be at. As you can see, in overly influential, we are starting to get some debuffs. It's not that bad, but of course, whispers of tyranny by the Senate is horrible. So max we can be is overly influential in the Senate. And of course, the most ideal would be respected in the Senate. And slightly below ideal is where we are at right now, which is balanced influence in the Senate. Alright, so let's go ahead, end the turn. And I will see you all in the end turn if Pyrrhus makes a move towards this army. Okay, so as you can see, Pyrrhus of Epirus is attacking our army Legio II Fretensis in Cosentia. We are going to retreat. There's no way we can beat that army. And he's going to march a little bit back towards Taurus, but he won't be able to get there, which means Legio I Italica should be able to reach him. And as such, we can deal with Pyrrhus once and for all. Okay, welcome to the next turn. As you can see, we can reach Pyrrhus with Legio II Italica. What we are going to do is we are going to hire a couple of mercenary units to help complement our army. I do believe if we are at 15, it might convince him to retreat. So we could actually fight that. I mean, 300, 300, 250. So he technically has another 100 extra. Another troop that's extra, so that's 12, and yeah, I think he might retreat if I choose to hire another mercenary, so I'm just going to go ahead and attack him with this army right over here. I'm going to go ahead, attack Pyrrhus of Epirus, and he is going to fight this one. Auto-resolve is not so good, so we are going to go ahead and get into our first battle of the campaign, and I will see you all in the battle. Alright, so welcome to the battle. I have gone ahead and deployed my army. in the standard triple S axis formation with the Hastati in the front line, Principes in the line behind them. We only have one Triarii unit in reserve. We have our Equites on either flanks, and we have our Leves as well as our Italian mercenaries, and of course our commander Lucius Julius Libo in the back. However, when we look at the Carthaginians, they do have the Syrian mercenary elephants, and actually I have gone ahead and designed the armor for the 1.3.2 patch, which will be, I hope, released to you guys quite shortly. And I really like this. This is of course given to me by Cam himself, and I really do hope that I turn down the battle difficulty. I'm not entirely sure as to why I can't really see their morale, but however, regardless, really beautiful looking armor unit, if I should say so myself. Hopefully this unit doesn't come and bite me in the ass. They are the most dangerous unit and the unit to look out for. Apart from that, we should also look out for the Bronze Shield Pikemen, and of course their VMDs have been updated by Cam, and really beautiful looking unit. And of course, before we go ahead and begin the battle, let's have a quick look at Pyrrhic over here. There he is, the man himself, Pyrrhic. Where is he? He should be... Does he have a lance himself? Usually the officers have... Yes, there we go, that's Pyrrhic. Doesn't quite look like him, but... Well, it is a game, that's the max you can do. And yes, without any further ado, let's go ahead, begin the battle. We are going to slowly march our troops by dragging, holding down the control key so that they continue a march. And we are going to fast forward the battle until they get into position. And yes, I am aware that the further away you zoom out from these elephant units, they kind of disappear, and that is a imposter model issue. And I have raised it up with Cam, who is in charge of these units, and he is aware of it, so he will fix that. But however, for this playthrough, we are going to have to deal with that. So, well, at least the flag is still there, so not all is lost, I guess. Alright, so let's get these guys a little bit ahead, that we can initiate the battle. And very soon we are gonna have to slow down over here. Okay, everyone's kinda in position, and the battle has started, so let's slow down. Wonderful. And over here, what I do want to do is I definitely throw all our javelin. Not bad. Hey. We want these guys to start firing into those units. I'm going to actually repel cavalry formation. Okay, that didn't work. That was not very well microed. However, we are throwing our javelins at the elephants, so they will start to take some losses real quick. They have already lost a couple of units. Several more are falling down. Javelins are really good, and I haven't really used javelins in the past. However, I am a firm believer of javelins for now. We go ahead, charge over here, use our cavalry to hit those units. The elephants are already wavering. It's thanks to javelins, and okay, they are broken. Can save up my javelins. I want to save up the javelins for the next unit, and that unit is of course the Phalangite unit. I can't actually see where the hell they are. They're over there. Perfect. And number 4, go ahead, make sure those elephants never return, because if they do, that could be disastrous. Meanwhile, Pyrrhic has decided to charge down the center. That's kind of good, because these are spearmen. Tarentine cavalry are quite powerful. Move our general to support over there. Where is our Triarii? Good. Wonderful. It looks like the Phalangite are slowly committing to this unit over here, so that's great. We're not going to chase Pyrrhic, we're going to move back. Move our horsemen back as well. Okay, wonderful. Make sure we kill all those elephants, really. Alright, and we are in position to throw our javelins into the backs of these phalangidae units, and we are going to go ahead and do that. Meanwhile, this unit can begin flanking. Go ahead, throw your javelins. We're going to have a nice look of what's going on over there. Throw your javelins. Big damage, come on.
Our general is under attack.
General can inspire. Yep. Couple more volleys and that should be good.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Now these pikemen have no idea what they're doing, so that's good news. But General is gonna have a hard time over here. Go ahead, attack over here. Oh, Samnites, where are you? You're over here. Oops, move these guys away. Keep moving away. Other cavalry can go ahead, hit that unit over there. Hey, wonderful. Go ahead, charge this unit in the back. Gonna move around. Yeah, and here. Alright, Pyrrhus is he dead? I don't know. Okay. We need to help. We can't really chase him down. We really need to help him. Meanwhile, our triarii can get narrow, and this is one of the reasons why the gaps in the formation is quite good, especially against units that need to be contiguous. Go ahead, charge our general over there. Go ahead, charge over here as well. This unit is in full retreat. Meanwhile, we're losing decisively over here, so there's no point. Go ahead, attack over here. And you can attack this way, so we're pretty much surrounded this phalangidae unit, attacking it from both sides, and we have actually pulled out from the center, so we can even attack them from the back. Wonderful. Complete encirclement over here. Where's our general? Okay. Everything looks fine. Go ahead and charge into that unit. And is this the phalangites? Yes, it is. Wonderful. Go ahead. Now what we're gonna do over here, we're gonna move this spear infantry this way, this spear infantry this way. And we want to move them as narrow as possible because that actually makes them a lot more maneuverable. Same way over here. And once we are clear of the enemy unit, we can go ahead and spread them out. They will spread out nicely like that. Wonderful. A little bit of micromanagement tips over here, and we're going to do the same on the opposite side. And then charge. And as you can see, this phalanx unit is faced the wrong way. And soon they will turn about. And now we charge them in the face. Yep, wonderful stuff over there. Meanwhile, let's have a quick look of what's going on over here. These guys can come over here. Again, in your narrow formation. I'm gonna clean stuff up over here. Move out. Cavalry, what's going on? Need to hunt down some of these units. You can go hunt that unit over there. Okay. You go ahead and hunt this unit, general as well. Okay. Come out. Number 2, perfect. Over here. Go ahead, reposition. And move these guys behind. Go ahead, attack these guys in the back. Alright, what's going on here? An attack in this direction. Now these guys seem to be stuck in that orientation, so that's good for us. Well, these guys are going to try to slowly turn around, and should they do that, we should pretty much attack them again from this side. Go ahead, activate that hoplite phalanx so that they push into the enemy unit like so. Wonderful. We can reform the ranks to further push into them, and they will start to waver. And since they are done and broken, we are just going to stop and attack them. Meanwhile, the only remaining unit is that phalanx unit over there, but it should also pretty much break pretty much very soon. What we are going to do is just fast forward now, since we don't really need anything much, and I am going to continue the battle, wipe out this army if I can, and I will see you all in the campaign. Alright, so there we are. We have got a decisive victory against Pyrrhic of Epirus. He has managed to survive. We are going to ransom off the captives. He is going to retreat as best as he can. I can't really chase him. What I am going to do is just get close enough to the border. Make sure. This guy, I'm not entirely sure. He cannot reach the settlement in the next turn, which is great. What we are going to do is we are going to... I'm pretty sure I will be able to reach him. Let's get a Samnicti. And move all the way over there. Can I reach him? I have no idea where he went. Lol. He must be down south over here somewhere. Anyways, I am going to move a little bit closer. Wonderful. He might choose to attack this army, and I don't really care if he does. We will take that battle. It's against a garrison. And yeah, with that, I think I am done with this turn, and I'm going to end the turn, and I will see you all in the next turn. Alright, so Pyrrhic has decided to attack us. And yeah, pretty much going to be an easy battle. So let's go ahead, quick save over here, hop right into the battle, and I will see you all in the battle. Alright, so here we are in the battle, and alright, so here we are in the battle. I have gone ahead and deployed my army, and I will explain the deployment. We just basically have in group 5 over here a line of our infantry. We don't have a big enough army. It's a really small army. So I'm just going to keep my line of infantry over there. In fact, I might just choose to stretch them out a bit thin so that they cover a lot more area. Behind them I have my levies, and I am going to turn off the fire at will with these levies. Hastari Samnicti in reserve, or rather the Italian or mercenary milites. What are they? Italic mercenary swordsmen. We have our Equites on the right flank, and of course our Equites Compagnie on the left flank. The general in the back. Let's go ahead, start the battle. And pretty much if we win this battle, it's going to be an easy auto-resolve in the next turn.
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
So let's just run over here. And we are going to slow down. Oh, it seems like Pyrrhic doesn't want to fight. We are going to harass him. Make sure he dies this time. He's a big fool for trying to fight the Romans in Italy. He's going to escape actually. He's quite fast. Got a speed of 7. And what about the companion cavalry? A speed of 7. So he's actually going to quite escape. Slippery little bastard. Oof, 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 oof. Are you just gonna get out of my reach? Okay, we got some volleys off. Haven't yet inflicted any casualties. And we did manage to get one person dead, so we are gonna come back again.
The enemy's hidden units.
And I'm actually gonna use these houses to my advantage, because we do have a bit of an inferiority in numbers. Cavalry on the right flank can go ahead. Meanwhile, over here, you're gonna protect that left flank. Spread out a little bit. Principes, you can be somewhere here. Yeah, actually come this way. Perfect. Wonderful. Okay, I'm happy with that. And levies can be here. Cavalry move around. Okay, nice. Cavalry can keep moving around. We're gonna have to stay zoomed out a lot, especially since we are gonna be playing with the 41 stack armies, so we will not be able to see the scope of the battlefield. And that is something we definitely want to do. Come to this side, okay. Make sure our companion cavalry go ahead, attack over there.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Get our general as well. Can pincer them over here. Wonderful. No idea what Pyrrhic is doing all the way over there in the back. We'll deal with him shortly. Good amount of damage. Good charge. Pull back. You can pull back as well. Go ahead and make sure you kill every single one of them. And you can charge back down over there. Go ahead. Chase over there. These levies are going to be reserved for the more hoplite type units. Go ahead, hit that over there. Wonderful. Okay, good stuff. Good hit over there. We're going to pull you back. Going to make sure these are 10 units. Wonderful. 22. I don't need to chase them anymore. Go ahead, start to encircle these guys. Wonderful. Can I pull these guys back? I just want to see how many troops they have left over here. That says 22. I don't know what about the other one. 13, so that's not bad. Okay, let's see what's going on over here. These guys are done and dusted. Go ahead, attack these guys. You're just gonna go ahead, pin down those guys. Wonderful. You can go. Get rid of those units. Meanwhile, you are attacking the general. Definitely this general, Pyrrhic, is gonna pull back. This time, have to make sure I kill him. Okay, wonderful. Go here. And now you can start to throw all of your spears or javelins into the backs over here. Okay, wonderful. You're coming to charge at my general. Very bold move, sir. And you just get sandwiched in there. Come on, Pyrrhic. You are not going to escape this time. You're not going to escape. Come on. Still escaping. Are you kidding me? Jesus. Guy is completely invincible. Is that him? No, that's not him. Where is he? Where is he? The enemy general is dead, thank God. Okay, number 3, come over here. Group 4, where are you? You're wonderful. You got these guys. Make sure you wipe them out. Not be able to reach those guys in time. While over here, things are looking quite good. Get us some Nick T to come over there. You've done quite well. Go ahead. Mop up that unit.
Romans ready for duty. Spear infantry. At your command. Allied troops awaiting orders. Principes! Italian swordsmen!
Hey. The other one. I believe these guys, definitely. Hey. Oh, actually, the general can go for those guys. You come here. These guys. These are all the same, I hope. Yeah, seems like it. Okay. Wonderful. The cavalry over here. Okay, go ahead and charge the rear. And in the 1.32, there is no more expert charge defense, so rear charges, especially in hoplite units, are going to be super devastating. However, that was anything but a clean charge. And what I have managed to do is get my cavalry stuck. And what I need to do is I actually need to create more space here, so I'm going to actually pull back and force this hoplite unit to give away, because they are in a bit of a strong position. As long as they are like protecting each other's rear like this. Keep moving, come on, keep moving. Is our general up to? Wonderful. Alright. Good. This is what I need him to decide one way or the other. Alright, you can go and attack this guy because I need you to face this way. Meanwhile, now our companion cavalry can go ahead and do a much cleaner charge. There we go, that is more like it. That is definitely more like it. Alright, meanwhile this cavalry can come here. Pull you back. Again, these guys might retreat before this cavalry disengages. And the other cavalry is going to pull off a cleaner charge over here. One more clean charge into that unit. And now this unit should break. And if this unit breaks, this levy unit is not going to stay in to fight the battle. So pretty much get my general to hit over there. Fast forward, and I will see you all in the campaign once I rout out all the enemy units. Alright, so down goes Pyrrhus of Epirus in the end turn, and the threat in Magna Graecia is no more. We are going to go ahead and pretty much just 2 cavalry left, and the guy almost survived again. We're going to go ahead and ransom the captives, and I will see you all in the next turn. Alright, welcome to what would be the final turn of this episode. We have completed a research barracks construction. We are now beginning to research training reforms. The generals have leveled up, so let's go ahead and build that auxiliary barracks that we need. We're going to build a regular barracks over here, or actually, yeah, we're going to have to build that regular barracks. Stop upgrading this one. Build a farm, because we are running out of food. Meanwhile, over here in Taras, they have a no garrison, so we don't really need to reinforce. So what we can do is we can actually disband all of our mercenaries. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of these mercenaries. We don't need them anymore. We are gonna simply auto-resolve this one. Quite an easy auto-resolve. Down goes the garrison, down goes the city of Taras, and Magna Graecia is ours, and Italia is finally secured. And we are going to go ahead and loot Taras for being a pain in the ass and inviting Pyrrhus over to the Italian mainland. Next up, we are going to repair whichever buildings we can repair, and I don't really need this barracks, so I am going to go ahead and demolish that one. And now we have enough money, so we are going to go ahead build that auxiliary barracks over here. can build up a farm, or we can go ahead and upgrade Roma. I think I'm going to go ahead with the Roma upgrade. And just before we go ahead and end the video, final look at our politics. It seems like our political situation is slowly stabilizing due to the pacifist pretty much being done and dusted, because we have kind of dealt with the Etruscans to the north. What we are going to do is we will have access to trade with Athens. Athens will trade with us, and they will give us a good amount of money, I hope. 4,000, let's see, 4,800. They do agree, which is great. Let's have a look if they will go for a non-aggression. It's on moderate. I don't want it then. Sparta is on high for a non-aggression, so we can make him pay for that. Meanwhile, the Aetolian League, non-aggression is on moderate. What we are going to do, we are going to try to peace out the Epirates. And they are on high, so we are going to take a lot of money from them if we can afford to do so. There we go. And now that we are no longer at war with Epirus, we have secured Italia in the next episode thanks to the realistic expansion submod that I'm using, thanks to Rhetor. What will happen is 99.9% the First Punic War will trigger, and we will be at war with Carthage since our influence in Sicily will start to rise. And now that we have a bunch of gold, let's actually go ahead. We're going to move this army towards Paris. And we are going to take every unit away from the army in Taras. And move him towards Beneventum in the next turn. Alright, which we won't be showing in this campaign, or maybe even in this, in this video or in this episode. Or even in the next episode, because I might just fast forward a little bit into the future until we are at war with Carthage. You guys don't need to see what's going on with me kind of readjusting my provinces over here. I will explain it all, of course, in the next episode. And of course, we have also leveled up our general over here, army traditions wise. So what we are going to do is we're going to give this guy some army traditions, get the garrison Auxilia as well as the vanguard, as well as the frontier garrison is the typical. This guy could technically be a military leader. I mean, I don't mind. I am playing as a republic, so I can't really have all my family characters in charge of army, so that's really going to make people disloyal. What I can do is, I think I will go ahead and actually make him a governor. For now. And over here, I think we're done. We do have a little bit more gold. We can upgrade this. And don't really want to do that. What I want to do is I want to get some agents really badly. I want to get a champion if I can. And I will go for the line of sight guy. It seems like it. Perfect. We'll get him. Nothing, no great options. And I can get some... no real great options for even dignitaries. But I will go ahead and get this guy over here. And finally, I will get a spy as well. And this guy gives cultural conversion. That's pretty good. But not for a spy. Food stolen. That's not bad. Early game. Let's go ahead and get him. Can we still upgrade? Yes, we can upgrade the herding ground. So we have used all of our money. We have used or done everything we needed to do for this turn. We have dealt with politics. As you can see, things are looking a lot better. And with that, I am going to go ahead and end the video. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, please like the video. And don't forget to subscribe if you are interested for more. Peace and love.